Welcome everybody to Rob's Motorworks. We are here at the Empire Room in Austin, Texas, and we tracked our ass to support the We Sold Our Souls for Metal tour, and definitely one of the bands that we had to catch up with was the band, the Titans from Sweden. I have with me Bjorn and David of the band Soilwork. Gentlemen, welcome.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
It's great to have you back on the program after so many years, but definitely I had to come out here to support the Ride Majestic, a great piece of work. I'm really happy to have the opportunity to discuss it with you guys today.
Thank you so much. We're really happy you like it.
Yeah, it's been acclaimed by fans over and over, and one of the things that I first want to talk about is, in 2013 you released The Last Infinite, and that was a double disc, lots of music, 20 songs that you released. Definitely a CD that was greatly acclaimed as well. And I think one of the things that people thought was like, oh, well, they released something so grand, maybe what they're going to release next might not be so grand, and yet it was.
Well, I think The Living Infinite was crucial for us. It was something we really needed to do in order to kind of rediscover ourselves as songwriters. So I definitely think we found something new through that album. It was sort of a experiment in a sense, and I think it showcased all of these songwriters in the band, because we really contributed, all of us, to that album. And I think, I believe we found something new, and I think for this album, I think we captured more of the darker atmosphere that we kind of discovered through The Living Infinite, and kind of tweaked it a little bit, I would say. But I think it's really, picking up where we left with the double album for sure.
And you really, when fans who know the band, really, you just can't ignore the fact that, you have, new blood in this band. David's definitely one of these people who has recently come on, I think, since 2012. And as a guitar player, definitely someone who's greatly involved in music and composing. So, Dave, when you came into the band, what did you feel you were kind of bringing into it? Because some people might say, hey, they got new guitar players, they got new blood in here. No wonder, they're at a new kind of level now.
Yeah, I guess my contribution was being a bit more Scandinavian, a bit more melancholic, and a bit more experimental in a way, because I really wanted to put my own stamp on stuff. Whereas, I have great respect for the back catalog, but coming into the band full time was a huge opportunity for me to just try to do my own stuff and still being respectful to the whole back catalog. But yeah.
Were you previously a friend of the band, or were you a fan of the band? How did you come into the band?
I've been doing session work for them since 2006.
Okay.
So I've known the guys for a long time, and for various reasons it didn't happen back then, but right now it felt like a good time, and it's a great experience and a great opportunity to influence the sound of the band.
So there wasn't any apprehension. You weren't afraid to kind of throw in your new ideas, and I guess maybe Bjorn, you weren't apprehensive about accepting some of those new ideas.
No, I think that's really important for us, and has been the whole time, that there's been lineup changes, but it's never been a situation where we wanted to bring in some new fresh blood, and make them adapt or adjust to the Soilwork sound,
right? And
just tell them, okay, that doesn't sound like Soilwork, and no, you can't do that, and you need to do like this. We never wanted anybody to copy our sound. It needed to be, I think we're really objective when it comes to songwriting. I think that's exactly why we are here today with such interesting albums, like The Living Infinite and The Ride Majestic. And I think that was really important, that whoever comes into the band, they also should be take part in the songwriting just as much as anybody else. And I think there's so many examples of that out there, with bands just getting hired guns,
right.
to keep the show rolling, and that was never the case with Soilwork.
One of my favorite songs on the CD is Petrichor by Sulfur. is one of my favorite tracks on the CD, and yet, you know, it kind of has a new vibe to it. And I think sometimes, you know, there are bands who kind of do the same thing over and over again, and they don't want to kind of upset their core fan base. Was that ever kind of something that you were fearful of, or did you say, hey, you know, we need to continue to grow and evolve as musicians and as a band as a whole, even out in the marketplace, and, you know, it might piss some people off, but hey, you know, we have an opportunity to gain new fans as well.
That's my song, so I guess I'm responsible.
It's a great song, man. I
Yeah,
love it.
thank you. No, but I think that like metal fans in general are kind of like open-minded, and they don't mind as long as you evolve. And I mean, we will never do EDM record or reggae record. I mean, it's still all about like playing metal and trying to find new angles to approach that genre. And as long as we're doing it in the right context, and I don't think we're ever going to piss people off, because I mean, we're talking to people all the time, and they seem to like that we're evolving as a band, and that we're still open to try new stuff. And for that song, we want that disco groove.
I like it.
The Dracula disco, and yeah. So yeah, it's personal favorite, and I'm really glad that we got to try out some new stuff on this album, and we'll definitely continue trying out new stuff and experimenting and evolving for the next albums.
Well, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I'm just gonna say that I think most people out there can feel the flow of energy that goes through our music still. You know, we're terrible liars, we're terrible actors, so you would notice if we didn't like what we're doing right now. There's something, you know, there's a new energy flow running through our music, and we're definitely not slowing down. It's really intense, and there's still tons of melodies in there, and it's still staying true to our roots, you know. But there's something new, but I think most people can really feel that, you know, that, you know, this is not a matter of keeping the band alive just because, you know. It's we're still making sense.
Right. So Speed, let's also, I want to talk about the Ride Majestic title and some of the lyrical content. There was a theme for this record about what you were feeling, or a message that you wanted to convey through the Ride Majestic. What would that be?
Well, like I mentioned before, we wanted to capture sort of the darker atmosphere that we kind of discovered through The Living Infinite, and tweak that. And it's I mean, if The Living Infinite was very existential, I think, you know, this new disc is definitely, you know, taking that to a new level. I guess it's slightly darker as well, and we went through some really you know, tough stuff, you know, while recording the album, and we had family members passing away, and so it was definitely really rough. And I think it also affected our approach to the actual recording. I think you can feel that as well. You know, it dragged out a little bit. It was actually harder to record this new album compared to the double album, which is pretty interesting. We thought it was going to be easy, but it wasn't, you know, and I think you can really feel that, you know. There's a...
You mentioned earlier, you know, some of the transitions in the lineup, and I think one of the changes that has kind of been talked about was the departure of your long-term bassist Olaf Flink. Can you comment on that? I mean, what was it like for you personally to kind of lose him as a member of the band? Obviously, you know, you want to kind of maintain some of that original kind of structure, and I guess in many ways for musicians it provides a little sense of home. But you know, things always change. We know that. Was that a tough transition for you to see him leave? And how did you feel about that?
Well, it definitely was tough, you know, for a while, because I mean he was there since the very beginning, and we've always said that, okay, if Flink is gonna, you know, call it quits, I don't know what's gonna happen then. But we also could sense that the last 2 years while he was in the band that he was feeling pretty miserable on tour, and so it didn't come as a surprise, really. And it was just, you know, we came to that point, it felt pretty kind of hopeless for a while, because it all happened right before entering the studio, and we had all those amazing songs that we wanted to record. and we were really looking forward to the actual recording. And he disappeared for a couple of months, and nobody could get a hold of him. And then suddenly he showed up, and we had a Skype meeting. And you know, because we live spread out all over the world, it would have been better if we met up, all of us, you know, in person. But that's how it went down. And you know, he came to the point where he wanted to have sort of normal daily routines, have a normal 9-to-5 job, and I don't think he ever had any, how can you say,
Rockstar dreams.
Yeah, rockstar dreams, if you will, or you know, any ambitions of becoming a professional musician. And we had so much fun while it lasted, and I will forever miss him. And he was such a big part of Soilwork. But we felt that we found something new with the Living Infinite, and we were going to enter the studio with the Ride Majestic, so there was no way for us that we could, you know, stop, you know.
Right.
So it definitely came from the right place and from the heart, and it was just a matter of finding somebody who could replace him, which was obviously very hard, and we did some brainstorming, and then I came to think about our old friend Marcus, which we knew he played bass and guitar and keyboards, but we didn't have, you know, the slightest clue how good he was on bass. We knew that he was perfect on like a personal level. He's a really good friend of the band. Everybody knows him, and so we just gave him a couple of months to you know, rehearse this set list, and we did a couple of shows in Scandinavia in May, and he nailed it. And I think it's been a really, really smooth transition, and I think that's, you know, exactly what we needed, and I think he's been a great injection into the band. I think you're gonna be able to tell tonight that you know, it's we've never been this consistent
As live band. We've never been better than we are right now, because it's every show is consistent, and yeah.
It's a rock show. Yeah. It's a goddamn rock show.
And one of the things, as we talk about relationships, one of the things that I do want to talk about is a new relationship for the band. You guys signed on with Breaking Band's management. Talk a little bit about how that happened, because it kind of seems like also Breaking Band's, you know, with Exodus and even the openers tonight, Shattered Sun, are new to their lineup, and now you guys coming on board. It seems that they're also, you know, doing great things. And when you have heavyweights like Maria Ferraro in there and Johnny Z as part of this, you know, and Chuck Billy, I mean, it seems like you can't really go wrong. Was that always kind of, had they been kind of courting Soilwork to come on board, or was that just something that kind of happened impromptu?
Well, I've known Chuck Billy for years. I think we supported Testament back in 2000 in our hometown, opening up, and I think ever since then, I think they, you know, Testament were pretty big fans of Soilwork. So I know for a fact that Chuck Billy has been following our career, and whenever I got the chance, we've been hanging out, and so, you know, I've been staying in touch with him, and we spoke like, I don't know, 2 years ago about things, you know, about the band, and then he approached me, you know, about, you know, this new management that they were putting together, and it seemed like the, you know, perfect fit, you know, because he's also an artist, you know, he knows exactly what it's like being on tour, and I think that's important, you know, to have all of those parts in there, you know, in the management. And then Johnny Z, tons of experience, the same with Maria. So I think it's a really, it's a good management, you know, and I think we have a really good relation to them, you know. They definitely know where we're coming from, you know, and we've been around for a while as well. So
20 years now, huh?
Yep.
Wow. Can you believe it's been that long?
Definitely not. I mean,
you look like you looked 10 years ago. You don't look like you've aged.
Okay, thanks. There's a little bit of gray here, a little bit of salt and pepper, but I guess that's about it.
Yeah, you look good, man.
All right, thank you.
So let's talk about, you guys are on the road, obviously supporting the Ride Majestic. How has the tour been for We Sold Our Souls for Metal?
It's been real good. I mean, like we said before, it's we're very consistent as a live band, and all the shows have been good. I mean, it's a bit different opening up for people, because we're kind of used to doing the headline thing, but I think we've managed to convert a few people along the way. I mean, a few Soulfly fans.
And you know, obviously, you know, touring with Max, you know, he has his core fan base. Obviously, you guys are tapping into some of that, and obviously now you have your management mates, Shattered Sun, opening up, and you know, I have to kind of mention them because those guys are tight with us. We've known them for a long time, and it's great to have seen them kind of come up through the ranks, and you know, they speak, you know, high praises of Soilwork, and I must say, Bjorn, myself, you know, I've seen a lot of video online and even on the new CD. I mean, it sounds like you're singing better than ever.
Thank you. I guess I'm a late bloomer, something like that. I'm 37, but still developing, and I'm happy about that. You know, it's still, you know, I find new ways of expressing myself vocally, so it's still fun.
One of the things too I also want to talk about, and this is something for the home that, you know, a lot of fans may be able to get their hands on, because I'm a big fan of DVDs. You know, I like to invite friends over and watch video and hear video. I know you guys released the DVD at the beginning of 2015, but yet I don't think there's been as much buzz about it, at least in our region, about the DVD. Talk a little bit about the DVD, because I know you were sharing with me it's kind of like a retrospective of the band.
Well, it's called Live in Helsinki. Live in the heart of Helsinki, even. And it was recorded in 2000.
It was like 14, like
14, yeah.
April, I guess. Like
Yeah, March, April. Anyways, but you know, it's a great show, and I think it's a great way of taking Soilwork with you home. And we're really proud of the DVD. It's our first, or Blu-ray, I should say as well. But it's definitely summing up the whole Soilwork career in a very good way. There's songs represented from each and every album. Sounds great, and there's a lot of songs that we usually don't play live, so it's definitely worth picking up. And there's also documentaries where we kind of, you know...
And obviously people can go online and purchase it from your store or from your websites. And
I believe they can, yeah. I mean, I think it's worth actually buying the physical copy, because there's a lot of cool... you know, photos.
Collage.
I did a collage,
okay,
which
cool.
is actually pretty cool.
pulled out all your old
That
photos.
alone is worth all the money. But yeah,
All
I mean,
the work you put into that.
Yeah. But yeah, I think it's pretty, you know, interesting. So I think it's worth picking up the actual physical copy.
Sweet. Gentlemen, thank you so much. I don't want to take much more of your time. Any last words for the people around the world who will see this interview? Any last words, Dave?
Well, we never talked about Swedish suburban anxiety.
Feel free to share.
That's something very special to us, and if you want to feel that, you want to share that bittersweet feeling with us, just pick up the last album and
Sweet. Swedish suburban anxiety.
Bittersweet.
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 Bittersweet anxiety. All right, great. Bjorn, how about you? Any last words, man?
Oh, last words? Well, pick up that new disc of ours, The Ride Majestic, and also that DVD that we just talked about.
And you know, I was remiss not to ask. You know, this tour will be over soon. What lies ahead for the rest of this year? What is your plan? What do you want to do?
We're gonna embark on a headline tour in Europe. We're gonna have 3 weeks off after this tour, and then we're gonna do Australia and New Zealand for the first time, and Japan as well.
Yeah.
Wow.
And
You ever been to Japan before?
Oh, we've been there probably 10 times before,
okay,
something like that. But yeah, it's always a good time for sure.
You know, Japanese love their metal, man.
Yeah, for sure. And then coming back here, I guess sometime in the spring,
Great.
I would hope.
Great.
Yeah.
Dave, thank you, sir. I appreciate your time this evening. Bjorn, likewise, man. Thank you very much. Remember, everyone out there, the latest from the band Soilwork is called The Ride Majestic. Be sure to go pick it up right now. You saw the band right here, only on Rob's Metalworks.